let's talk about journaling. If there's one tool aside from meditation that will help you in a variety of ways, it is journaling. It is a tool that can help you with numerous things, and people often have just kind of a one concept of it, which is to journal your daily life. But actually, a journal can be used for many things, and I'll get into that as we talk. One of the first reasons I recommend journaling is because of when it comes to experiences. When it comes to experiences, we often go into a vibrational state of being where we don't remember everything a day later, 2 days later, a week later. But what I've found out is that if I journal my experiences, when I go back, as soon as I read that first sentence, everything comes back to me right away. The whole memory comes back, and things I haven't remembered for years because I have so many experiences. I can pick up my books and I can read one line and be like, oh yeah, that I forgot that happened. Because it's not present moment, it's not something we need to access in the now moment. And from a vibrational standpoint, that doesn't do much other than training you to remember your experiences and giving you a way to go back through and go, okay, that really did happen. This is what they said. You can reflect on it, and you can um, use it for future work or future reflection and that type of thing. But it's a way for you not to forget about it. But for raising your vibration, one of the reasons I talk about journaling is because you can take trauma and emotion, you can take energy that is inside of you and write it in word form on physical paper, to release it into the paper, to release your traumas, to work through those, to work through the problems of your past, and to even just work through the problems of your day. If you journal your day, it's a way to give you a release, an energetic release, to clear yourself, to allow you to be free of the control of those emotions. And for a lot of people, that's very healing. It's one of the reasons, if you go to a mental health professional, a lot of times what they'll say, one of the first things they'll recommend as a tool is, do you journal? Do you write out your thoughts? Do you write out the things that are bothering you, that you're frustrated with, that you're angry with? Do you write letters to people that you don't send? You can use a journal for that, to release the trauma, to release it onto something else. So you can use the journal for that, to raise your vibration, to clear your traumas, to help understand who you are, help understand your past, to help with forgiveness, writing about how you forgive people, writing about the things you want to let go. It raises your vibration to clear all of that out of you. So a journal can be a powerful tool in that mental health space, which is a video we talked about earlier on. Another tool it can be used for is to track your progress. If you're changing your diet, track your progress. What foods are making you feel bad? One of the things I recommend is, if you stop eating a food and you go back and eat it again, if you clear your system of it for 2-3 weeks and you go back and eat it again, track how it makes you feel. A lot of people don't realize red meat can make you aggressive. Red meat can make you feel heavier, make you feel denser, lower vibrational. Other foods do it too. Sodas, things with chemicals, energy drinks, they can affect your emotions. They might give you energy, but what happens when that energy leaves your body? Are you craving? Is it like you have to have more sugar, more energy drinks, more coffee, whatever it is? If you're drinking coffee and you clear it out of your system for 2 weeks to a month, and you drink a coffee, how does the acid affect you? How does it feel to have your brain, the blood flow to your brain shrink? In my experience, it doesn't feel good. You actually feel foggy. People say coffee wakes you up, but once you clear it from your system, Once you clear the caffeine, once you clear all that stuff and detox, and then you go drink it again, it's like your head shrivels and you become foggy, and it can give you a headache. So pay attention with your diet. How do foods make you feel? How do they make your body react? And you'll notice that over time, especially if you journal. The reason to journal it and to have a food diary is to remind yourself, is to look back and remind yourself, when I ate this, I felt this. When I ate that, I felt this. So that you know. And to remind yourself that you don't need those foods, that as you replace with healthier foods, your body upgrades, your health upgrades, all of that upgrades. Doesn't mean you won't go through a phase of shifting. For example, broccoli used to give me, and it gives a lot of people actually, digestive issues when they eat it. Broccoli and certain vegetables. Here, it was because my biome was so affected by the sugars, the sodas, the chemicals, the meats, that when I cut all that stuff out, I can eat most vegetables with ease now. I don't have a problem with them because my microbiology has shifted away from all the nasty stuff that was killing the healthy bacteria off. In that, think about, what else are you adding to your diet? Are you using supplements? I don't use any supplements anymore. I take a vitamin D supplement when I need to in the winter because of lighting and outside issues with the cold. That's about it. But as far as protein supplements, this whole idea of what are they called? Probiotics. We didn't have those 15 years ago. It's a marketing scam. You don't need probiotics. What you need is to eat healthy. So what happens if you eat healthy, shift your diet to more plants, and you cut out the probiotics, or you cut out the different supplements you're using? Obviously working with a nutritionist or a doctor if you're able to make sure you stay healthy. But what happens when you cut those out? Do you know what I found out? They didn't do anything for me. I was taking the protein supplements. I was taking these things that they tell vegans and plant-based people you have to supplement your intake. I stopped taking them, nothing changed. Nothing. They meant nothing to my body, my diet. They were doing absolutely nothing for me. The food was carrying me. The supplement was just a marketing thing. So journal those instances. What happens when you shift to healthier eating and you start taking out different things? Do you feel sick? Do you feel better? What happens? In a lot of cases, I didn't feel anything different because the shift showed me that these products that are out there are really about marketing and money. And I always go back to, we didn't have them 20 years ago. They weren't sold as much as they were now under the guise of health, when really health is just about eating food grown in the ground, grown naturally, so that you have a biome, a microbiome that is balanced. But you don't know until you shift your diet. And when you shift your diet, you journal it and you start looking at everything. You're like, okay, I'm going to take out soda this week. How do I feel? For me, it was really difficult. You feel the addiction. It's very difficult, which makes you understand how much it controls your body. You'll understand how much the caffeine, the sugar, all of those control you to consuming them. And it helps to journal that. So in the sense, the journal is a tool to raise your vibration, because you can go back and see, oh, this happened, that happened, and you can document it all. And then you can document it all for if your path is to teach people about diet, if your path is like me to teach people about experiences or something else, you have the history to go look back on so that you can accurately describe what was going on without forgetting anything. The thing I always say, my biggest thing is, as soon as I see, or when I'm talking about an experience, I remember the experience pretty much in total, but I don't remember all of my experiences because I have so many. So the journal helps me with that, helps me move forward, helps me live a life free of corporate work, free of the control structures, helps me do my work, which raises my vibration because it's a tool to help me do my work. It's a tool to help you shift your life, to shift your daily life, your habits, and do your work, to release your traumas. You can do creativity. If you have a journal, it's a perfect thing to use for creative work, like poetry, haikus, song writing, drawing, writing stories. It can boost your creativity because now you have something to write in and you can do it whenever you want to. Now, for me, I've shifted my journals a bit. I recommend a paper journal for the physical act of writing and scripting and writing in it. And this is because of energy. If you use a journal and you write affirmations or you write gratitude statements, the energy goes into that and helps provide that outcome. And that's a very good use of a journal, a tool for affirmations to manifest, to shift your life, a tool for gratitude to tell the universe and write letters to the universe of what you're grateful for. It has a lot of versatility to it. But one of the things I did is, as I've grown, I have many journals on my experiences, but I've realized it's far easier to have my phone. And what I used to do is I used to take receipts. Scraps of paper, whatever I found around me in the car or wherever I was at. If I had an experience, if I had a thought, if I had something I knew I needed to journal, I'd write it on the paper. As a side note, before I forget, journals are good for dream work. Dream work is extremely important in spiritual work because a lot of times people think their guides aren't communicating with them, but they are through dreams. So journaling your dreams helps strengthen that. Even if you journal just a sentence or two each morning, doing that helps strengthen to where you're writing paragraphs and then pages. And then you get to a point like me where you stop writing dreams altogether unless they really matter spiritually. And that's kind of what happened with the journal process I go through. Is I was writing everything in my journals, using scraps of paper to remind me when I got home, you need to journal XYZ. And then I realized I had my phone with me all the time. So now what I do is I will open the Notes app and I'll do a quick journal entry in my Notes app. A lot of times, as long as I'm in a private space, I won't even type it. I'll voice record it and then I'll edit it just to make sure all the translation was accurate. But the idea is voice recording makes it very easy to drop an experience right into a note without writing and scripting it. And I'm to a point where I don't have to write and script to remember things. I just need to get it on paper, so I have a trigger. The journal for me is a trigger for the memory. If you're writing affirmations, if you're writing gratitude, those types of things you should do by hand. You should use mind, body, soul, and do by hand for energetic reasons. But if you're journaling other things, your diet, that sort of thing, you can use audio transcription to a note or a Word document or something. And then what I do is I print it out. Anytime I do that, I print it out, fold it, put it in my current journal, and date it. That way, when I do open my experiences journals, everything is there. I don't have to jump from one app on my computer, laptop, phone, etc. It's all right there in that physical journal for me to look through. So if you're doing that, if you're on the go, you start using your Notes app. Compile it, print it out, put it in your journal. But always be recording, Always be in the moment when you're like, oh, I need to make a note of this. Make a note of it so that you can go back to it, because that's important for us. We get information at various times. It's not always in the moment we think we want it. It's in a moment where we're more connected. So it might be when we're driving down the road because we clear ourselves, we clear our mind, and our channel opens, and our guides say, don't forget about this. So then obviously, if you're driving, when you get to a safe spot, make a note for later. Nothing complicated, just make a note and then go back and journal it later. But the idea is to journal, to use that tool, to use that effectively throughout your journey, whether it's for experiences, diet, gratitude, affirmations, all these things. Use it for the energy. Use it to distribute energy from yourself, to release it from yourself. If you have trauma and things you're healing from, if you need to give forgiveness, use it for creativity, songs, music, all those sorts of things, drawing. Use it for future planning. It is a very, very useful tool, especially in the beginning of your journey. And if you don't have one, pick one up, and you don't need anything special. You don't need to spend $40 on a journal at a bookstore. I know a lot of people like fancy journals, but what happens? They buy fancy journals, they put them on a shelf, they don't use them. I have journals I bought in bulk, 75-80% off at Barnes & Noble one time. I bought a stack of them, spent like $100 on $1,000 worth of journals. It was crazy. It was bonkers. All very, Batman, Simpsons, all these things they were closing out. Put them in a box. I have journals for a lifetime, is what I say, because I'll never use all of them. But I bought them knowing that I use them enough that if I use 3 or 4, I'll go through them. But in that case, I'm not buying more. I know until I work through those, I'm not going to buy more. And you can do the same thing. You don't have to buy journals. I know people who they pick them up because that one looks nice, that one looks nice. But if you're not using them, they're not doing you any good. It's just a material item. So if you buy them, make sure you have a purpose for them. But honestly, the easiest thing to do that I've found, I have my journals, my Batman journals, my Simpsons journals for my experiences, for different things. And then I have this. I'm not going to show you the front because it's got stuff all over it, but it's a legal pad. 50 cents at the dollar store. These are how I journal my channels. A lot of times my guides come to me and say, we want you to sit down and write, because they know if they talk to me, I'll forget a lot of it if it's not written down because of the high vibrational state that I'm in. So I have to write while I'm doing it, unless I'm doing an experience. But if they're just channeling through me, if they're just talking through me, it can be hard to remember all that stuff, all the details, all the wording they said specifically. So a lot of times they come to me and they say, this morning we want you to write. Please sit down and what do they say? Sit down and write us are the words that they'll use. And I'll get the nudge, I'll get a tap on the shoulder, one of the shoulders, or, telepathy in my head, and they'll just be like, we need you to sit down and write us. I do it in legal pads. I date each entry. I don't tear them off. I just fold it over. It's on a legal pad, 50 cents at the dollar store. So the fancy journals are kind of reserved for my experiences, and I don't use them as much anymore because now I have this platform. I have video journaling, essentially, is what I'm doing to share with you. And then I journal as much as I can on paper in those, or I do what I said, which is audio, and then I print it out, or the legal pads. Doesn't have to be expensive. It'd be 50-cent legal pad. That's it. And you can have one for your experiences, one for your diet, one for your traumas, one for your affirmations, gratitude, all that. But consider adding that into your tool set. It's a very, very powerful tool. I know some people it's a habit you have to build, but it's a very, very powerful tool. And if you use it, you won't regret it, because you'll be able to look back on that and say, in a month, where was I at a month ago when you start doubting yourself? In 6 months, where was I at 6 months ago? And when you're doubting yourself, you can go look at all this stuff. Look at all the things I've done. Look at all the progress I've made. I know people with their diet, they make progress and then they take they backpedal. But you can go back and you go, wait, I backpedaled, but look at the progress I have made. So it's a confidence booster. It's a confidence booster to say, you are doing well, you're on the right track. It's okay to backpedal a little bit, but look at how far you've come overall. So use them. Use your journals. Create a journal. Use it. Reflect on it. Allow it to be a tool to help you on your journey. Thank you for watching. I am grateful for each and every one of you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I love you all.